And I just went, what? And I talked to her. I says, I need the records. I tried to get the records to appeal the decision.
Mm-hmm.
She was almost like, what? You're going to appeal? You can't do this. I'm like, yeah, I can.
Well, what, do you hope to win an appeal? Do you think that you'll get anything out of that?
I'm not going to file an appeal up there yet. I'm not going to file for custody. I told DCFS, I said, I want all these investigations done. I want the Judicial Commission to do it because I can't file an appeal until I get my records from this court. To file an appeal, I have to have the DVDs and the court records, and the court has refused, even taking my money to pay for them, has refused me the records. I even proved that Shannon Bryant wasn't serving me the papers in court. I mean, he was mailing me stuff, and he was supposed to be serving. They have hearings. My case is sealed on the Internet.
Mm-hmm.
One of Shannon Bryant's victims, the ex-mayor of South Lake Tahoe, his attorney made him seal the records because he shouldn't have mentioned this man on public records. And I have the documents on the court of the motions that were filed. There were over 200 motions filed, but I can't appeal without these records, and the court is refusing to give them to me. Flat refusing. The custody evaluator that they hired, basically my ex and Shannon Bryant, wrote the custody evaluation, and this woman just signed it. She didn't come to the house. She didn't, do anything but examine me. Basically, what she did was an information gathering for him. It was done so badly, the custody evaluation. It was so shed of blood. I even turned in the evidence to the court and police on this that made it so obvious he wrote this custody evaluation. And right now, in fact, I even made a complaint to the psychologist board. This woman is refusing. Now, this is a custody evaluator that I paid that is supposed to be unbiased. She's refusing to give me my documents. Because it's obvious. She wrote it. Or she didn't write it. She just signed it. And the court's refusing to give it to me. Everybody is refusing to give anybody that asks about these documents. The FBI, when I talked to him last week, he said the court just sent over a couple documents. He says, well, there's only 50 pages. I said, well, then you don't have all the documents because one motion alone was 50 pages. And this FBI officer told me, he claimed to be a Robin Smith. He told me, he said, between my complaint and the court documents, all he had was about 50 pages. And that was on Judge Hardy. I said, wait a minute, I never made a federal complaint on Judge Hardy. Mine was against Francis Doherty. And number two, one motion of that hearing was 50 pages. Now, the thing about the Hardy hearing is my daughter was taken from me. I mean, just bam. My ex showed up to the door with police cars and had a court order to take her, just rip her from her entire life. My child has been completely denied her biological family, her nanny, all her friends that she has had her entire 10 years of her life, period. They have kept her from everybody she knows. Everybody. Including me, her mother. And he's the stepfather. He's on the birth certificate, but he's not the biological father. And we were separated when she was conceived. The Hardy hearing was all about Darren Mack. It had nothing to do with my daughter. I showed up with psychologists. I showed up with a nanny. I showed up with the old family friends that knew us, witnesses, everything. They never asked one word about parenting. Never. It was all about who knows about this whole, basically in a nutshell, Darren Mack was set up. The bad thing about that is in order for them to do that to Darren Mack, if you search this on the Internet, they would need corrupt judges, district attorney, and corrupt FBI in Reno. Now, this phone call last week for the FBI, that was completely weird. I'm like, I never complained about Judge Hardy. So why are you even discussing this with me? So all that tells me, and I wrote to the Department of Justice, I said, Darren Mack is about to be sentenced. And I made a complaint because both DAs, Maurice Washington, the senator, has suppressed my evidence, and both DAs that were involved with this murder case and the shooting of the judge refused to take my statement that this man could possibly be innocent.
Well, Michelle, we're running out of time, and your story is very interesting, and it's very interesting that you're a very brave woman, because it sounds like there's a lot of criminal activity around you.
In Nevada.
In Nevada, yeah. Well, it's everywhere, but you're really right in the middle of it. But is there anything you'd like to add before we close?
What I would like to add is I actually was a very delusional woman before all this. I thought that if you were a victim of crime, you simply reported it and it got investigated, and the criminals went to prison or did their, whatever, That doesn't happen. The judges are corrupt. I never would have believed it at the time. I had close to 4 nervous breakdowns over this because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this story until it happened to me. I was one of those people that simply could not believe that a judge could do that, put you in jail just because you didn't, because one of her friends would go to prison if I, reported it. I couldn't believe that they would strip a mother of her child completely for no legal reason, but just because of petty vengeance. I couldn't believe any of this implant stuff. I thought all these people were delusional. Now, today, after, getting some rest and support and living it for 3.5 years, it's all true, and people need to start informing themselves. At this point, I'm not taking any shit from even a judge. And I was just Susie Blonde Homemaker. I would have never believed this of myself, where I would just take on all this stuff and start doing it correctly. I think really people just need to start informing themselves. It does happen. People need to wake up.
Do you have any websites or anything that you'd like to refer to?
No, presently I'm penniless, so.
Okay.
And as far as, the agencies involved, whoever it is, CIA, Secret Service, all that, I have decided as far as the game plan, because I don't believe that I was targeted, I believe what they do is research with involuntary human subjects. Perhaps they do target people to harass them. I believe that they do after talking to you and several other people. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was done for that purpose originally on me. Mm-hmm. So I would just as soon, if I could, work with that agency in charge. However, they're not coming clean. Even the boyfriend's involved. I would personally just like to get my daughter, sever my daughter and I completely from my ex, because he's not the biological father. Just forget them all and walk. Go into the federal marshal court, change your IDs, just walk. I'm very self-sufficient. I'm a big girl. I'll take care of myself and my daughter. I always did.
Yeah, but organized stalkers don't like that, and they don't like to hear that you can take care of yourself. They want to run you into the ground. They want to take away their independence.
But the problem with my group is they're so criminally stupid, they went all out on a person that has a completely clean record before this.
And that's with a lot of organized stalking victims. It's something that's just happened globally, and they seem to be taking good, decent people and really running them into the ground. And I interviewed a man last week. His name is Kevin Berner, and he had implants too, forced into his intestine.
Oh my God.
Yes, and during a surgery. And so it does happen, and he found them and he had them removed.
I was one of those people that would, if I heard my story 5 years ago, I'd say, that woman's crazy.
Well, you know what? It's spread so much now that it's real. It's true. It's all over the world. I mean, we can't hide from it anymore. There's cases everywhere. But, Michelle, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to tell the story because people do need to inform themselves. And believe it is
thank you for coming forward because it takes a lot of courage, to come forward. So thank you very much. And at some point I'll follow up with you. I haven't done second interviews with anyone yet because I have so many first interviews to do because I have so many targets. So I will follow up with you eventually, and we will see what's going on.
And please send me the website.
With your story. Yes, I will.
Because I am interested in getting involved in that.
I will do that. Actually, I'll give it to you right now. It's Freedom, FREEDOM, capital FCHS.com. Yes, Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. There's President there, Derek Robinson, and I'm in touch with him a lot. And if you contact him through the website, you'll find that you get a lot of results. They did find an attorney, so they have a class action lawsuit they're going to proceed with. So get in there and get on it.
I'd like to get legal representation on this because mine is not a pro bono case. No attorney will touch me so far.
They did find an attorney, so they're sending out questionnaires now, so you want to get in there as quickly as possible. Okay?
I will do that, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle. Bye-bye.
Thursdays on the Edge. If just one person becomes inspired by one line of free thought that is not of their own creation, and that one person goes on to inspire others with their own lines of free thought, and those others create